I always imagined my son's wedding day as one filled with laughter, music, and the scent of garden roses. For years, I'd pictured myself standing beside him, fixing his tie, telling him how proud I was. But when that day finally came, I didn't even know it had happened. It all began 3 weeks ago when Ethan, my only child, called after months of silence. His voice was polite, distant, and oddly rehearsed. He told me he had some news, but before I could ask, he hung up, promising to visit soon. That soon turned into silence again, the kind that fills a house and presses on your chest. I tried not to take it personally. He was always private, even as a child. After his father passed, I raised him alone, working 2 jobs and skipping meals just to see him through college. I never complained. A mother's love doesn't keep score. But love, I've learned, can sometimes blind you to distance growing quietly in front of you. 2 days ago, I finally decided to visit him. I baked his favorite lemon bread, wrapped it carefully, and took the morning bus to his part of town. It was early autumn, leaves swirling around my shoes, the air crisp but gentle. I rehearsed what I'd say when I saw him. "I miss you, Ethan. Let's not drift apart." When I reached his house, I noticed something strange. There were fresh flowers by the gate, pink ribbons tied around the porch rail, and a faint trace of perfume in the air, not mine. My heart thudded as I walked closer. Through the open window, I could hear laughter, 2 voices, Ethan's and a woman's, playful, familiar, intimate. I hesitated before knocking. The laughter stopped abruptly, and I heard footsteps approaching. The door opened, and there she was, a young woman I'd met only once before at one of Ethan's office gatherings. Her name was Lily. Her smile flickered nervously as if she hadn't expected to see me. "Oh, Mrs. Porter," she said, her tone unsure. "You're here." Before I could ask anything, Ethan appeared behind her. His expression froze for a moment, then he forced a grin. "Mom, what a surprise," he said, taking the bread from my hands before I could speak. Come in, come in." The living room smelled of candles and new beginnings, soft music, scattered glasses, and a faint hint of celebration still lingering. My eyes fell on the mantelpiece, where a small photo frame stood, Ethan and Lily dressed in wedding attire. My throat tightened. I turned to him, my voice trembling. When was this taken?" Ethan hesitated, glancing at Lily, who suddenly looked fascinated by the floor tiles. "Yesterday," he said quietly. "Yesterday," I repeated, each syllable breaking like glass. "You got married yesterday." Lily's voice came in soft, apologetic tones. "We meant to tell you, Mrs. Porter. It was very sudden, just a small courthouse ceremony. Nothing big. We didn't want to bother anyone." Bother anyone? The words pierced deeper than they should have. I managed a small nod, pretending the air wasn't leaving my lungs. "Oh, I see," I said, forcing a smile that didn't belong on my face. "Congratulations." Ethan mumbled thanks, avoiding my eyes. I sat down for a while, listening to them talk about furniture, dinner plans, and a honeymoon that I apparently wasn't meant to know about. My mind drifted, my heart drowning in quiet disbelief. I wasn't angry, not yet. I was just invisible. After an hour, I excused myself. On the way out, Lily touched my arm gently. "Please don't take it the wrong way. We just wanted something simple." Her tone was genuine, but her words only deepened the ache. Simple, as if a racing family was simplicity. That night, I sat by my kitchen window, staring at the lemon bread I'd baked, untouched. The ticking clock was the only sound in the room. I tried to reason with myself. Maybe they had their reasons, maybe I was too sentimental. But a mother knows when she's been shut out of her own child's new life. I opened my old photo album. Ethan in his graduation gown. Ethan on his first day of school. Ethan standing beside me with a missing front tooth, proudly holding his report card. Every picture told a story of a boy who used to look at me as if I was his whole world. Now, that boy was a man who couldn't even send an invitation. I told myself I wouldn't cry, but the tears came anyway, not out of anger, but out of loss. It felt like mourning someone still alive. And yet, somewhere deep inside, a tiny flame of resolve began to stir. Maybe it was pride, maybe pain, but I knew this story wasn't over. Because sometimes, Life's cruelest lessons aren't about punishment, they're about awakening. And if my son had forgotten where he came from, then perhaps it was time to remind him, not with words, but with the quiet strength that raised him in the first place. The next morning, I woke before dawn. The house was silent, heavy with memories. I brewed my coffee, but it tasted like nothing. Every corner of my kitchen felt foreign, as if the world had quietly shifted overnight, leaving me behind. I kept telling myself that I shouldn't feel this hurt. Ethan was grown, he had a right to his own life. But love isn't logic. It's 1,000 small memories stitched together, and when someone pulls the thread, everything begins to unravel. For 3 days, I didn't call him. I wanted to see if he would reach out first. He didn't. The phone stayed still, cold, indifferent. It was a strange kind of silence, not angry, just final. By the 4th day, I went to the market to clear my head. That's where I ran into Mrs. Langley, our old neighbor. Her smile carried that familiar curiosity. "Oh, dear," she said. "I saw Ethan's wedding pictures on Lily's page. You must be so proud." I froze. "Pictures?" I asked. She nodded eagerly. "Beautiful ceremony." The caption said intimate family only. Family only. I managed a weak smile, thanked her, and hurried back home, each step heavier than the last. When I opened my laptop, my fingers trembled as I searched Lily's profile. There it was, photo after photo of a small but elegant ceremony. Lily in her lace dress, Ethan beside her in a gray suit, smiling, radiant, surrounded by people I didn't know. Her parents, her cousins, friends from work, but not me. The caption read, "Married to my best friend, a day filled with love and family." I stared at that word, family, until it blurred. Something broke quietly inside me. That night, I sat by the window again, moonlight spilling across the kitchen table. The lemon bread had gone stale, untouched. I realized then that I had spent years trying to be needed, and perhaps in doing so, I had forgotten how to simply be. So I did something small, something freeing. I took out a notepad and began listing the things I had postponed for years. Repainting the house, visiting my sister in Maine, enrolling in that pottery class I once dreamed about. For the first time in a long while, I wrote something only for myself. The following week, I received a message. "Ethan. Mom, Lily and I are hosting a dinner this Friday. Hope you can make it." I stared at the screen, unsure if it was guilt or obligation that made him write. Still, I replied, "I'll try." Friday came, and with it, a storm, literally. Rain hammered the streets as I stood outside their home, umbrella trembling in the wind. When Ethan opened the door, he looked surprised, maybe even relieved. "You came," he said softly. Inside, the house glowed with soft music and candlelight. Lily greeted me with that same polite warmth, the kind you give a guest, not family. The dinner table was filled with people, her friends, her parents, laughter bouncing like echoes. I smiled through it all, carefully hiding the emptiness. During dessert, Lily began talking about selling the house, Ethan's father's old house, my home, to simplify things. My fork froze midair. Sell the house. Ethan shifted uncomfortably. "Mom, it's too big for you. Lily and I were thinking maybe you could move closer to town. We can handle the sale paperwork." The world went still. That house had been my life's work, the place I built with his father, brick by brick, after long shifts and sleepless nights. Every wall held laughter, tears, and prayers, and now they wanted to simplify it. I took a deep breath and smiled faintly. "That's kind of you, dear. I'll think about it." The dinner continued, but I barely heard anything. Inside, something sharp yet calm began to form, not anger, not revenge, but clarity. I realized they weren't cruel, they were simply careless. They had moved on, and I had stayed still. That night, after returning home, I opened the old filing cabinet where I kept everything, deeds, documents, and one sealed letter my husband had written years before he passed. On the envelope, in his familiar handwriting, it said, "For Margaret, when you need strength." My hands trembled as I opened it. "My love, if you're reading this, it means life has tested you again. Remember, our son's path is his own. You were his home for many years, now be your own. Never let the world convince you that kindness means surrender. I read those words again and again until they felt like armor. By morning, I made my decision. I wouldn't argue, I wouldn't beg. But I would remind Ethan, quietly, what family truly meant. I called the lawyer who handled my husband's estate. After a long conversation, I smiled for the first time in weeks. Some choices don't need anger, just timing. A week later, Ethan and Lily stopped by unexpectedly. They looked flustered, uncertain. "Mom," Ethan said, "we tried to start the process for the house sale, but apparently we can't. The deed shows it's co-owned under a trust. Did you know about that?" I nodded slowly. "Yes," I said. "Your father made sure everything would be protected in case of changes." Lily blinked, speechless. Ethan looked embarrassed, almost childlike again. I poured tea for all three of us, the silence thick but civil. "Ethan," I said gently, "a house is more than property, it's roots. And some roots shouldn't be pulled up just because new flowers bloom nearby." He nodded, eyes glistening with something that looked a lot like shame. That night after they left, I stood by the window again. The storm had cleared. The moonlight spilled across the kitchen table just as before, but this time it felt softer, forgiving. For the first time, I didn't feel forgotten. I felt free. Because sometimes revenge isn't fire or fury, it's quiet dignity. It's showing the world that you can lose what you loved most and still stand tall, graceful, and unshaken. Weeks passed. The air grew cooler, leaves turning to soft amber. The world felt different, not because it had changed, but because I had. I began filling my mornings with small, quiet things, watering the garden, volunteering at the library, writing letters to old friends. I no longer checked my phone for Ethan's messages. When he did call, I answered with warmth, but without expectation. It was strange how peace arrived, not like thunder, but like dawn. Then one afternoon, a familiar car pulled into my driveway. I looked through the window and saw Ethan stepping out alone. No Lily. He looked older somehow, not in years, but in weight. When he entered, he didn't speak for a moment. Just stood there, eyes darting to the kitchen table, the one where he had once eaten lemon bread as a boy. "Mom," he finally said, "I came to apologize." I smiled softly. "You don't owe me an apology, sweetheart. Life moves fast, I understand." He shook his head. "No, you don't. You've always understood too much. That's the problem. I never asked how you felt about the wedding, about the house, about everything." He looked down, his voice cracking. "Lily and we've been arguing. She thought I was too attached to the past. But now I realize maybe it wasn't the past I was attached to. It was you, the part of me that still knew what love without condition felt like." I placed my hand over his. "Ethan, I raised you to build your own world. I just didn't know it meant I'd have to stop living in mine. But you did what every child must, you grew up. And I did what every mother must, I learned to let go." Tears welled in his eyes. "I want to make things right." I smiled again, gentle but steady. "Then start by being kind to yourself. That's how you honor where you came from." He stayed for dinner, simple stew and bread, the way we used to. For the first time in months, laughter returned to that kitchen. Not loud, but real. When he left that evening, the silence that followed wasn't heavy anymore. It was healing. A few days later, I found an envelope in my mailbox. No return address, but the handwriting was familiar. Inside was a small card. "Dear Margaret, thank you for teaching me what grace looks like, even when I didn't deserve it. With love, Lily." I sat down slowly, feeling something I hadn't in a long time. Release. She didn't owe me that letter, but maybe that's why it mattered. Sometimes the universe speaks only when you stop trying to be heard. That weekend, I packed a small suitcase and took the train north to visit my sister in Maine. The ride was long, the scenery quiet, rolling hills, pale skis, trees whispering with the wind. As I watched the world rush by, I thought about all the chapters behind me, the young girl who dreamed of a family, the mother who built one, and the woman who learned to stand alone without bitterness. When I arrived, my sister hugged me tightly. "You look different," she said. "I feel different," I replied. We spent the evening by the shore, sipping tea, talking about everything and nothing. As the sun set, I told her about the wedding I never attended, the letter I received, and the peace I finally found. She listened quietly, eyes soft. "You know," she said, "maybe the wedding wasn't meant to exclude you. Maybe it was meant to free you." I smiled, watching the horizon fade into gold. Maybe. Months passed. Ethan called regularly now, just to talk. Sometimes Lily's voice joined from the background, gentle, careful. They were expecting their first child, and when they told me, I felt tears spill down my cheeks, but this time they were warm, not bitter. "Mom," Ethan said softly, "we want you there when the baby's born. We can't imagine that day without you." I closed my eyes and whispered a silent prayer of gratitude. Life has a strange way of circling back, of teaching you that love doesn't end when it breaks. It simply changes its shape. One quiet morning months later, I sat by the same window where everything had once fallen apart. The same table, the same light, but a different woman. In front of me lay a fresh loaf of lemon bread, golden and fragrant. I smiled, cutting a slice and placing it on a small plate. Then I took another plate, smaller still, and set it beside mine, for the new beginning that life had given me. As I sipped my tea, I whispered to the empty air, "I'm proud of you, Margaret. You didn't need to burn bridges. You just learned to walk your own road." Outside, the wind rustled the trees, carrying away the last remnants of old pain. And somewhere deep inside, I knew revenge had never been the answer. Grace was. Because the truest revenge isn't silence or anger. It's peace that no one can take from you.